He was told he was doing it for the good of Muslims suffering in Palestine and other parts of the world. He spent a night with the bombers and brought them their last meal, lunch in the afternoon on 11th July. But he chickened out of his assignment at Makinde.
I realized my mistake and changed my mind. For two mistakes, one was greater than the other.
Suspect number 4, and the youngest is Mugisha Mohamud, 24-year-old. He was part of the 5 Ugandans under the command of Swale Naban, an Al-Shabaab killed by the UPDF in Somalia. Mugisha is an Al-Qaeda and joined in 2008. He was trained for 3 months in Kismayu and promised a job in Dubai. His first assignment was to identify a safe house, but he failed in the task.
I rented a house next to Minister Nankabirwa in Nakulabi. This location my bosses disliked it.
Period starting July 2010. Several Kenyans went missing. They later re-emerged in Ugandan cells, charged with involvement in the Kampala bombing.
The courtroom was full with curious members of the public as the 3 men, all Kenyans, were arraigned before Magistrate Deo Sejemba. The suspects are 27-year-old Hussein Hassan Agadi, a preacher of Islam and a resident of Mulolongo, Athi River in Kenya. The second suspect is 25-year-old Muhammad Adan Abdo, a resident of Tawa in Makueni district, Kenya. And the third is 42-year-old Idris Magandu, also known as Christopher Magandu of Kawangwale, Nairobi district. The 3 were allegedly behind the July 11 bombings at Chedondo Rugby Club, where 61 people died, and the Ethiopian village which claimed 15 people. They were charged with 3 counts of terrorism, 76 counts of murder for each victim of the blast, and 10 counts of attempted murder for the 10 people that were injured when the bombs went off, bringing the total count of charges to 89. The suspects were not allowed to enter any plea as the charges are only triable in the High Court.
The illegal renditions had resurfaced again. Alamin Kimathi made his first visit to Uganda for attendance in a court production for the rendered Kenyans. On return to Nairobi, more Kenyans continued to go missing. Little explanation was given to their whereabouts. Unfortunate for them and their families, they were rendered to Uganda.
Last night, they swung into action and arrested Mohammed Abdul Hamid, said to be one of the suspects. We visited his home in South Sea and met with his wife, who remembers just too well what transpired last night.
Kuna watu karibu 10-15 wamemzingira, wanamchapa. Sasa yeye alikuwa, kwa vile alikuwa akiuliza kwa sauti, mnanishikia nini na mnanipiga kwa sababu gani na nyinyi ni kina nani? Lakini hawataki kufanya nini kusikia.
According to his lawyer Mbogwa Mureithi, the police whisked him to Kasarani police station. Their efforts to see or speak to him this morning bore no fruit. The police have since transferred him to an unknown location.
We went to the anti-terrorism police headquarters and we inquired about his whereabouts. There was only a sentry at the gate who claimed that they were not holding such a person. He denied knowledge that any such person was even ever arrested by the anti-terrorism police.
Friday's arrest brings to 4 the number of Kenyans arrested in connection with the Kampala bombings, but the question the families of the extradited are asking is what the procedures of extraditions are.
Tangu jana sijalala na nimefunga, naye kule yuko pengine hakuna ile kitu amekula na nataka na kufunga. Kwa sababu gani hawezi kutuache sisi Waislamu tukatekeleza wajibu wetu wa dini vile inavyotakikana?
According to the current Kenyan constitution, no Kenyan citizen shall be forcefully removed from the country. The country requesting for the suspect's arrest must lay charge in their court to obtain a warrant of arrest, then ask their Foreign Affairs Ministry to request the arrest of the said person. And finally, Kenya shall go to court and request the extradition of the accused. For now, the question remains, was due process followed?
Habib Suleiman's story had a poorly planned state conspiracy. Media outlets and even the Coast Area Police admitted to arresting Habib at his place of work, Radio Salam.
The radio station employees are said to have either met or stayed with the Tanzanian terror suspects prior to the bombings. Among those in custody in the latest police stings is a journalist who is both a producer and a presenter of an Islamic programs at the station. A senior manager at the station said they will cooperate with the police as they carry out their investigations. Police dispelled claims that the suspect may be taken to Uganda to face charges there. A source says the suspect may stand trial for harboring a criminal.
The latest is Habib Sulaiman Njoroge, a Kenyan journalist who was picked up from Mombasa on Monday.
In a scandalous and absurd move, the ATPU, through a written affidavit, denied arresting Habib Sulaiman and claimed that the said reporter was arrested by Ugandan forces at the Malaba border as he was trying to creep into Uganda. It was now apparent that the Uganda bombing case was being used as a scapegoat for riddance of unfavorable people by the ATPU. The FBI were rejoiced at having a jungle area with no laws to interrogate whom they saw fit. All they seemed to do was just pick names and the fellows were ferried to Uganda. Shocking though was admittance by the Ugandans that they had not requested for the rendering of the Kenyans. If at all, Kenya's ATPU had acted on their own will or under foreign instruction.
Uganda's security has rejected the theory that Kenyan security operatives are lapdogs of the US Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, in the latest transfer of Kenyan terror suspects to face trial here in Kampala. There is fear that Kenyan authorities did not follow extradition procedures, a flaw that has since raised uproar amongst the Kenyan judiciary, law society and civil rights activists.
In standard criminal procedure, if there has been a flaw in the proceedings, the lawyers of the suspects are entitled to bring this to the attention of court, and it could have a negative consequence on the success of the case. Would require a closer look at the actual procedures followed in this case to see the compliance levels, and then somebody can comment whether it was done. But what I can say is that definitely there are procedures. It is not jungle law that you just go to another country and pick that person like a mercenary.
However, Police Chief Major General Kali Kaihura argues that it's a fallacy to assume that terror suspects can only be arrested and transferred for trial under the extradition treaty.
We have got different instruments which we should take advantage of. The UN resolution. You go and read it. It's very, very, very clear, which compares member states of the UN to support each other. Actually, it makes it mandatory that you must surrender.
On September the 15th, 2010, MHRF Director Alamin Kimathi and lawyer Mbugua Mureithi traveled to Kampala to attend a second hearing for the growing number of Kenyans. A concerning report came in that neither Alamin or Mbugua attended the court hearing and there was no information on their whereabouts. Ugandan media reported the capture of Alamin and Mbugua Mureithi in the company of a third Al-Qaeda operative.
The Uganda Law Society made attempts early today to secure the release of detained Kenyan lawyer Mbugua Mureithi and human rights activist Al-Amin Kimathi in vain after the Police Rapid Response Unit, where the men are held, ordered the team to seek permission from the Criminal Investigation Department first. Mbugua Mureithi, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, accompanied by Kimathi, was arrested on Wednesday while on his way to Kampala to defend a number of Kenyan citizens charged for the July 11th bombings.
We have 3 people in our custody. One is called Mbugua Mureithi, another one is Al-Amin Kimathi, then another one I don't know his identity. These 3 people were arrested on Wednesday, and their arrest came after we received information that evening that there is a suspected Al-Shabaab operative who had entered into the country, and our police was trailing the person.
The Uganda Law Society, together with the Law Society of Kenya and the East African Law Society, have condemned the manner of arrest and have demanded access to the detainees. They also want the police to press formal charges against them within 48 hours or have the suspects released unconditionally.
We therefore and strongly condemn the actions of the security agency and accordingly call for the following. 1. Conduct investigations, if any. We should be, and then within 48 hours, make formal charges and alignment before court and have the suspects unconditionally released.
The arrests have been condemned by